Welcome back to the Coruscant Knights podcast. Thanks for joining us. You're live with Cooper and Jack. And today we are discussing our top three favorite Jedi, a continuation of, I guess, a mini series that we're doing. We did it
Yeah.
with our favorite lightsaber battles, then our favorite battles, then a couple weeks ago, our favorite Sith, and now our favorite Jedi. It felt like the natural next step. There are a lot of really good Jedi out there, so we're going to discuss that today. Just to let everyone know before we obviously
Mm-hmm.
get started in this discussion. I'll let everyone know of our plan for the
Mm-hmm.
next couple of weeks because we are going to go on a break over Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And some of you might wonder, well, what does that mean for Skeleton Crew? Well, we will cover episodes one and two when it comes out. We'll do a podcast on that. And then for episodes three and beyond, we'll upload kind of mini reviews, not in the format of a podcast, more just like kind of how our Star Wars in 60 seconds kind of works.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be a bit longer than that rather
Yeah.
than just a short format. But yeah, that's how we are going to keep you up to date with our Skeleton Crew reviews. We'll still post on Instagram. So go follow us at Coruscant Nights to
Yep.
stay in touch with that. So yeah, that's just kind of the overview of what the next of what the break's
Weeks.
going to look like, of what our
Yeah.
plan is. And with that out of the way, now I can focus heavily onto our favorite Jedi. And Jack,
Ooh.
you and I have been talking throughout the week, hyping this up.
Yep. Yep.
I have said on numerous occasions that my list is very good, and you've been saying your list is very good. And so now we get to put it to the test.
Okay.
We have decided that I will go first. I feel
Yep.
very honored.
That's
But
okay.
I do not think that this Jedi is going to be on your list.
That's good then.
We also have done a similar podcast in the past
Have
where we
we?
did discuss one of our first episodes
Yeah.
was discussing our favorite characters in Star Wars.
Ah, yeah, it's actually
Yeah,
similar to the theme, on
yeah,
theme.
yep.
Mm.
So all of them were Jedi. So
Mm-hmm.
everyone knows I'm a massive fan of the little rogue Jedi Cal Kestis. He is my favorite Jedi. I'm taking him at number one.
Boo.
His story, I know all the Jedi went through tragedy. You know, some of them died. That's how tragic it was.
Yeah.
But for me, the fact that Cal's story was about overcoming that tragedy and turning it into triumph is
Mm.
beautiful. Now, I do need to say this might be a bit controversial. I think Cal as a character is better in Survivor, but his journey and development is much better in Fallen Order. Because you got to
No,
think
I
about
would.
what Cal went through in Fallen Order.
Mm-hmm.
He was living alone, except like with Prof and whoever it
His
was
mates on the work. Yeah.
on Braca, yeah.
Mm.
But after that, he was just thrown into the worst circumstance. The Empire was hunting him. He had to kind of keep his secret. He couldn't be who he really was. He couldn't show that he was a Jedi. And then
Mm-hmm.
he got sprung on this adventure that kind of turned him into that inspiring Jedi, that rogue Jedi, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Survivor, so like that development's good in Fallen Order. Survivor, I think it's more of that reinforcement of this kind of nature of him, but you do get different aspects bleeding in.
A
Like,
glimpse.
yeah, he kind of embraces the dark side, for example. He wants to fall in love with Merrin. It's those sort of things that go against what a Jedi is, or the
Mm.
Jedi Code, I suppose. And it's just it makes his character so complex and so
Interesting.
rich. And that's why I think that while the initial development's better in Fallen Order, Cal's character is better in Survivor. So
Interesting.
yeah, just the fact that he's a non-traditional Jedi, I know he's overpowered as hell, but man, I love myself some Cameron Monaghan. He's fantastic. He's
Th-
so good. I want to
This
see him in
is
Andor season two.
This is so interesting because everything you just said about him is almost linked to most of the Jedi that we all love. You know what I mean? A lot of them do
Yeah,
die in Order 66, but you know what? Okay, little tangent before I pick my one. As always, there always has to be one.
always.
People like Cal Kestis survived Order 66, but then you got people like who are masters and everything just dying in the pre-movies. But now I feel like with Disney and everything, they're just bringing back characters or adding characters. Like, is Jude Law's character going to be one who survived Order 66 too?
I would
Like,
imagine so.
it's just how many actually we were talking about success rate of a particular faction just before we started recording this. It makes you wonder how many more random Jedi
Yeah.
are going to pop up saying that they survived Order 66. So was Order 66 even that deadly in the end?
Well, I do have a stat, but I would also highly recommend you check out the video that's going to come out next
Yep,
week.
that's good.
Um, Apparently,
Mm.
Order 66
Mm.
had a 99% success rate
That's
because only about
baloney.
100 Jedi survived
I
out
feel
of
like there'll be
10,000.
okay. When you put into perspective, 100 Jedi isn't a lot, but it also is at the same time. Because you think about it, 100 Jedi versus like two Sith in that time period, kind of thing. Like after the Jedi, that would still win. You know what I mean? But I guess
True.
they're all in hiding and scattered. But I guess nowadays people are making things about these
Yeah.
remaining Jedi that it makes it feel like there's so many more of them, I guess, than there
Yeah.
actually is. So you got me there with that stat. Good job.
The yeah. The only thing for Jude Law's character that might be a possibility, but also kind of wouldn't make sense, is if he's like an Ezra Bridger, where he wasn't a Jedi, a part of Order 66, but he was a Force-sensitive
Trained
kid,
after.
and someone trained him. But who
Hmm.
trained him? Wasn't
Kane
Ahsoka.
and
We know she
Jarrus
doesn't want to train.
again.
Kanan Jarrus, it's the
The,
secret master
the
for
secret. Ugh.
whatever Jude Law's character's name is going to be. Something
Oh,
random, I'm sure.
it'd be
They love
something.
random Star Wars
Yeah,
names.
it'd be some weird
Jube
thing.
Jube.
Yeah, the Jubinator.
The Jubinator.
The Dickers for Jude Law. Um.
Jude.
Okay,
I
let's
love it.
get off this tangent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm coming in hot, of course. I was gonna save until later. I'm gonna have to pick Anakin.
Yeah.
He is the poster boy, I would like to say, of this franchise. I think recently nowadays people are even praising him more and Hayden Christensen a lot more than what he was back in the day playing Anakin.
Hmm.
First stat, he is the chosen one. I do love myself a good old prophecy chosen one kind of narrative. As much as I'm not that big of a fan of Harry Potter,
I was gonna say.
I gotta love the chosen one. And I love Harry Potter himself. I don't like a lot of the side characters. That's for another video in the future. Um, he by far, in terms of humanoid Jedi, he has the best look of a Jedi, particularly in episode 3. He comes across as a bit more of a like a fearful character. Like Jedi's, no hate to Obi-Wan. I'm gonna throw some shade at Obi-Wan real
No,
quick. I'm gonna throw
no,
some shade. He just looks a bit goofy. He
no,
he just looks like a dad.
no, no. Don't say
Space
that.
Jeevers, I don't care. You look like a noob, especially with that
Oh,
mullet. Um,
damn.
so with Anakin's scar across his eye, dark robes, nice little luscious curly kind of mullet. Oh, he is fearful. And I also aspire to be him. Okay, his other really cool feature is that his force visions are so intently detailed and scary that it makes him such a powerful but also dangerous character. If he had so much potential to see that far into the future kind of thing, what could have he done in the Clone Wars that maybe we didn't know about, but he already kind of knew or had
Mm,
premonitions about, but never said? Makes you wonder.
does.
He's and this fact alone, I just when we talk about Star Wars every week, right? We talk about it all the time, but I never really think of it holistically. He is basically the sole reason, or part of the sole reason why the galaxy got overrun by the Empire,
Yeah,
and
he is.
99% of the Jedi died. It is
Hmm.
when you look at it like that, it's actually kind of crazy. And
Yeah.
he is the Jedi, or at that time turned evil, but the Jedi who basically led the galaxy into darkness, which is absolutely crazy when you look at it like that. Like, I know that's probably a very generic kind of thing, but you don't look at it like that. You know what I mean? You just look at it as Anakin's story and the rise of the Empire, but he is at the helm of, sadly, one of the darkest times. So that alone is just holds such a significant kind of moment for the character.
Absolutely.
He's also trained by the noob himself, Obi-Wan Kenobi. And as much as I dissed on his appearance, his character with Anakin just creates the best dynamic overall. And it makes Anakin himself a better character because of him and how he plays off Obi-Wan in terms of like the Clone Wars. You've got that kind of, I wouldn't like to say good cop, bad cop, but it kind of is in the sense that like you've got a rogue Jedi and you've got a Jedi who follows by the book, you know what I mean? So I just love how they play off each other and it gives you such depth to how Anakin is. And because of how developed he is, especially in the Clone Wars, when it comes to like a decision or like a moment when Anakin has to do something, you already know as the audience and the viewer of what he's most likely going to do because of how he's been portrayed over the course of the period of time. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, oh, Anakin's not going to listen to that guy. 2 seconds later, all right, Rex, we're gonna move out now. Like it's like, oh well, you kind of guess that because you know his character, and it's just good
Exactly.
writing, good development. Um, the other thing I like to mention is he's got intense precon precognition, where he
Hmm.
can kind of like what's it called, take it upon himself to lead the great army of the 501st, and he is also I don't, you know what? I'm not going to mention this last bit because it's going to lead into something later. But I think overall, Anakin as a character himself, as a Jedi, he is one of the best in the business of the Jedi. He probably did so much more for the Clone Wars and the Jedi Order than probably half of the Masters on the Council who were just sitting around eating chips. I feel like the whole time. So
Yeah.
I have,
Eating
I think,
chips. All
yeah,
right. Yeah, no, I look, Anakin's a great Jedi. I didn't have him on my list kind of because I knew you were going to take him, but
yeah,
he's a great Jedi. And we
mm,
love Hayden Christensen. Great actor. Great portrayal of Anakin.
mm.
Now, this second pick for me is
Yep.
probably going to shock you. It's going to shock
Really,
our listeners and it's going to shock the world.
really,
I made a bold claim that this character was really boring. But with my second pick,
Ray.
oh, you wish. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. No, you.
Oh God,
Um,
yeah, I hope not.
Luke Skywalker. Now, I know you make that face, and at home, I'm sure you make that face as well. But here's the
Favorite.
thing, right? First of all, excluding A New Hope and excluding Empire Strikes Back, I'm looking solely at Return of the Jedi up until the start of The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Luke Skywalker is how I would picture is how I'd picture a true Jedi. If you described to me what a Jedi was and my eyes were closed and I had no idea about what it is, I would think of Luke, I would think of Mark Hamill. That's
Hmm.
just how my mind would work. I think Luke, in that period of time, has the best morals, has the best intentions, and has the best character of all of the Jedi, in my opinion.
Hmm. Yep.
Luke, obviously, during that time, is supposedly one of the most powerful Jedi that's
Kind of fun
ever
too.
existed. Obviously, having a last name Skywalker, you're gonna be very powerful. But beyond just being powerful, it's his belief, especially in Return of the Jedi, that light will triumph dark. And I love that
Hmm.
he's learnt that across his journey, that he had to learn that um, his father could be redeemed. His father could be saved because of the care that Vader had for him. And I
Hmm.
love that Luke never gave up. He was willing to die so that
Yep.
his father would maybe even turn back to the light.
Return.
That's
Yep.
beautiful. Now,
Mm.
I really, really wish that we got more development of Luke during this time
Yes.
period
Hmm.
because the Legends content is absolutely brilliant. What we've got so far in our little Mandoverse period, I suppose, we've got his badass scene of destroying the Dark Troopers. Insane. Beautiful moment. And then we've
Mm.
got him hanging out with Baby Yoda. That's it.
But still, in those small periods, it was chef's kiss on how Luke was kind of portrayed already in alone in them
Yeah, it was. I agree. But we need more
more.
because we've seen, like, obviously they're not going to go down the Yuuzhan Vong route now. That's kind
Mm.
of well part. It's going to be Thrawn. Thrawn is going to do that. But
Yep.
in the Legends, obviously it was the Yuuzhan Vong and they were the
Hmm.
baddies during that time for the New
Yep.
Republic. They're not going to go down that route. But we need a Luke that was that powerful against that group against Thrawn now. And
And hopefully the resurrected Night Sisters, because I'm assuming that's what's going to happen, which means kind of magic versus Force and Jedi, which will be sick.
it would be insane. But look,
Mm.
overall, Luke, I've had a lot of time to think about this. When I was thinking about this list, I'm like, okay, Luke, as much as I didn't like him in A New Hope, and as much as I think he's not really a Jedi in The Empire Strikes Back. He trains to be one, but I wouldn't say he's officially a Jedi. Return of the
Yeah.
Jedi and what comes after that, before the sequels, is exactly what I would picture a Jedi being. It's exactly what I love in Jedi, seeing that journey and
Hmm.
just that triumph again. The triumph of good.
Yeah, look, it's just I think what happens in the sequel trilogy taints my overall perspective of Luke, and that's the issue. I think Luke's start and Luke's end is very bad, but Luke's middle is very strong as a Jedi, I think. and well, in more about what our canon portrayal of Luke has been, and I think that's what taints him to put him as my favorite.
Yep.
But he definitely had potential for me to be favorite for sure. Um, and as going back when you said this guy's not my next pick, but I do think of Obi-Wan as like the portrayal of the perfect Jedi because he suffered so much yet still maintains his moral ground, you
Yeah.
know, and is just good. He just beats and best most people that he comes up against. He's not arrogant. He's humble. He's funny.
Yeah.
It's great.
I was
Yeah.
thinking that, but to me, and I might touch on Obi-Wan later, maybe,
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe.
Maybe.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely did consider that when I was thinking, what does a true Jedi look like? But then I was able to differentiate why I'm think Luke is the true Jedi. He looks like a
To be
true Jedi.
fair, purely off nostalgic, I always think of Luke's get up in Return of the Jedi. Such a good get up.
Yeah, it's iconic.
Yeah. Um,
Green.
next pick, I'm very conflicted.
Oh.
Let's just say because there is another solid three more. So in other words, four that I would have.
Hmm.
But one of them, which I'm not going to say, but at the end I'll give them an honorable mention because I don't think there's enough on them to make them my favorite, but they had the potential to be one of my favorites. So I'm
Right.
going to come out here hot and put out Ahsoka. So,
Okay, yeah, all right.
so as viewers might know, I may be very, very harsh on Ahsoka when, in terms of like, anytime we talk about the show, anytime we talk about even her as a character. But I think Ahsoka deserves a spot on my list purely based off everything she's been through and everything she's done. And her story's not even complete yet, which makes me more excited on how her fate or end will be, because we obviously know sadly she has to die before Rise of Skywalker because of the
Yep.
Force Ghost or Force talk, I guess you would like to say.
Hmm.
Um, and this is linking back to Anakin. She is literally the apprentice of the best Jedi of all time, which makes which makes her even more special alone. And to build on that, her mannerisms that she gained from Anakin flows perfectly into her, especially throughout kind of more of the later seasons of Clone Wars and Rebels, I guess you like to say. Why she's also so good for me is that she's iconic with her twin blades, and I feel like her development, even with colors throughout all the interpretations of her, has been amazing. And I love how she got rid of the green blades because I hated the color green. And as we would know from our blind ranking of colors, I loved her twin white blades, and I think that makes her so iconic. And to just quickly go back to what I was saying previously, I was going to say that the most iconic part for Ahsoka, in my opinion, was actually weirdly enough her fight with Morgan on that planet. I don't know the name of it, the samurai one. I don't know what it was about it. Like, I don't know, it just looks so beautiful with the lighting, the white blades, and the sound design and the samurai vibes that obviously doesn't top Darth Maul versus Ahsoka, which is so good in itself too. Best, obviously, Clone Wars animated fight. But I just really, really connected with the white blades in live action where she was hiding from like in the shadows and appearing, and just it was so scary, but so cool. So in the Ahsoka show, I actually didn't really connect with her that much because of her mannerisms. I know she did the unfolds. I know she was more stoic because she's older and a bit more wise, but I didn't get to connect with that kind of youthful, acrobatic kind of optimistic. Maybe we got that towards more of the end when obviously everything happened, which I liked, but I just wish I had more of that in live action. But overall, Ahsoka the Jedi herself, she's just got a very good development from start to finish. And I think as a female character and a different alien type of species, she's a good role model. She's strong, she's independent, she's enjoyable to watch. And I just love Ahsoka. I think she's been portrayed nicely throughout all of her interpretations, which is something that is hard to do for certain characters. So that's why she takes my second spot.
Well, it's certainly a surprise
Mm.
because I know you haven't been critical of Ahsoka, but you definitely haven't been um sharing the love, I suppose, or spreading the love
More
as well.
critical because I like her. I want
That's
her
fair.
to be the best she can.
That's fair. Okay. All right. No, that's a fair point. Ahsoka is a great character. She's a great Jedi. She possesses all the qualities that a true Jedi does,
Should. Mm.
which kind of nicely transitions into my last character. And obviously, before I kind of alluded to it, it's Obi-Wan, right? Got to
Yes.
take the Kenobas. Got to take the Kenobas.
Yeah.
Um, so obviously, before when you said you picture Obi-Wan when you think of a true Jedi, I
Mm.
picture Obi-Wan as as what a true Jedi possesses, like his
Yeah.
qualities and his
And look.
mannerisms, not his look,
Yeah.
but
100%.
Luke is for his look. That's how I
Yeah.
picture a Jedi looking.
That's good.
Obi-Wan is how I picture or is what I think a Jedi possesses. Like,
Possess. Yeah.
yeah, so their qualities. So his braveness, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
is that a word? Braveness?
Courageous.
Courage, his courage,
Courage.
his un his unwavering ability, his commitment to always standing up to fight in the dark. How many times did he
Mm-hmm.
fight Darth Maul, was completely obliterated, and still stood up to fight him after he was absolutely
Mm-hmm.
battered? Only
Mm-hmm.
someone with great courage and great skill and great dedication to the light side of the Force can do that. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, when I think of what a true Jedi possesses, I think of Obi-Wan. You kind of touched on it before. Obi-Wan is like super charismatic.
Mm-hmm.
That's mainly Ewan McGregor and I guess James
Yeah.
Arnold Taylor, who voices him in
Mm-hmm.
Clone Wars. They both do a great job. He's such a sassy Jedi.
Sassy. Yeah.
Sassy Jedi. But yeah, I think the fact that another thing,
Yeah.
when we think about Obi-Wan has the best rivalries.
He
He's got
does.
a
He
rivalry
has the
with
best.
Maul,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Grievous, with
Yeah.
Anakin at times. Well, I
Yeah.
guess with Vader, yeah.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Man has the best
Three.
enemies, and it's just like a never-ending saga, obviously, until it does end, but just
Yeah.
great. He's so funny.
He's
Everyone's such
he,
a
he
funny Jedi.
he is so like powerful in terms. No one ever really until like recently now more people are like, oh, he's actually beat all these Jedi's.
Yeah,
I mean Sith. And like people, I don't think people gave him enough credit for like back, especially when it first came out, all this kind of stuff. I'm like, dude, this guy's just bested some of the scariest, powerful Sith ever.
absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah, so Obi-Wan at 3, I honestly thought it was going to be
Yep.
taken earlier, which is a shame because my runner-up actually is pretty interesting and unique, but that's right, I'll discuss it in a bit. I'll pass
We'll
over
do our
to
runners
you.
up. Yeah, I think we're
Yeah.
gonna. I think to end this one off, after I do this one, we'll do our two honorable mentions. How's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. So my last one. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna pose this to you. Have one wild guess to see who my third one will be.
Well, you talk about Mace Windu quite a bit, so
I
I'm
do.
gonna say it's probably Mace Windu.
It's not Mace Windu. It's not Mace Windu. He was not my honorable mention either. Love
Oh.
him, but I don't think he's my favorite Jedi. I just like his character. Because I think as a Jedi, he's quite poor in terms of
Yeah,
he's dismissive. He's not
yeah.
really a role model leader, apart from that one time in Clone Wars where he saves his troops on that cliffside. Literally,
Yep.
the only time I picture is him being an actual Jedi. It's Plo
True.
Koon. So
Okay.
Plo Koon. So obviously his mask is so iconic. You have to go Plo Koon because I love his respirator kind of thing that he has, obviously, because it's dangerous to him. I love how he's got one of, I don't love it, but it's iconic. How he has the death in Order 66 of the crumbled arms in the spaceship. I wish he had a proper death after everything we got in Clone Wars from him. Now, the main reason why I picked Plo Koon as my favorite Jedi is mainly also once again going along the moral side. He loved and cared for his troopers so much early on in the show, which is also early on kind of, I like to say early on in the Clone Wars, where a lot of the Jedi's at the time probably weren't that connected to their clone kind of trooper with them. He also, especially, it was a part after Grievous's malevolence destroyed Plo Koon's kind of ship, and they had to jump ship aboard in their what's it called, escape pods. And then they were getting kind of hunted, and the trooper was like, "Oh, we've got nothing to do. We're cooked. Leave us," kind of thing. We have no purpose aside from just here. And Plo Koon's like, "Nah, we're in this together. We'll find a way out of this." He was always hopeful. He's also the one. Now that I think of it, they all have some sort of connection, Ahsoka, Anakin, and Plo Koon. He was the one that recruited Ahsoka too.
Yeah.
So in the sense that I don't know, like maybe they have some connection that I really like. He's similar to Ahsoka in terms of he keeps to his word, and I trust that he will do the right outcome in terms of putting others before himself and also not being selfish as a Jedi. Another two kind of unique, three actually, three kind of unique things for Plo Koon is that he is a master of Sorcery, which is Form 3, which is the defensive lightsaber technique, which is actually very underrated because as also what Obi-Wan uses against Anakin, which obviously ended up basically getting him the victory for kind of being on the defensive and having strong defense, ended up having a good offensive. And yeah, so he was a master of that. So obviously, a lot of the other Jedi would have taken inspiration from him, and being more of a defensive type of a Jedi just gives into that kind of perspective and kind of what's it called? Overlook that a Jedi is technically meant to be keepers of the peace, not warriors and kind of aggressive attackers in that sense.
Yeah.
He also has foresight and force telepathy, which is obviously a very powerful ability, which he doesn't really use much in the Clone Wars, which is a bit sad because it'd be very overpowered in terms of he could control a lot of the minds of the droid leaders, not the droids obviously themselves, they don't have a mind, but like some of the leaders.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, he's just got a really cool design, has really good morals, and I think he's someone that is very underrated, and he's just someone who I would like to have as one of my favorite Jedi's, to be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair enough. You've rounded out a good list there, Jack. Anakin, Ahsoka,
Mm,
and Plo Koon. Yeah,
mm.
it's a actually, is this the first time that we've not had a like recurring character on both lists?
I think I think so because I. It's funny how we kind of know each other in the sense that I had a
Yeah.
feeling you were going to talk about Obi-Wan, and you knew I was going to talk about Anakin. So I was like, it's just kind of it works well. It's that dynamic, you know what I mean? It's good.
That dynamic. It's
Um,
knowing you for so many years, you know.
yeah, true.
I
Just
know what.
knowing my love for Anakin.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, you make it very apparent every single day.
prequels,
Prequels.
prequels.
Yeah. I will just mention my honorable mention because
Yeah, go
I
for it.
I don't want to not go this podcast without mentioning it. And I don't even know if you're gonna know this Jedi,
Mm.
but I remember her from Knights of the Old Republic game and from
Is it?
the um YouTube, the cinematic shorts on YouTube.
I know who it is.
Bastia Shan.
Sean. Yeah,
Bastia Shan is like the peak Jedi. She was fighting the darkness pretty much alone. She was fighting with Revan, but
yeah.
she had the whole Jedi Order on her back.
Mm-hmm. Carrying
She
it.
is the most badass female Jedi in my opinion.
Yeah, she is. I'll give you
She's
that one.
so cool. And I
Mm,
only learned this the other day. She had a unique force power called battle meditation.
mm. Which is
Um,
similar to what Cal is attempted to do in the pauses, I guess you could say.
yeah, yep,
Mm.
yep. So yeah, I think she's awesome. And obviously
Mm.
again, the Old Republic's such a cool time period,
That we
and
need to explore
we do need to
more.
explore, and that new trilogy of movies that's coming out from Simon Kinberg should
Mm.
not be episodes 10, 11, and 12. It should
No.
be Old Republic, three-part Old Republic movie
Yeah,
series.
for
Thank you
real.
so much. And we get Bastia, and we get Revan, and we get Malik, and we get
Malik, Malgus, even.
Malgus. Yep, we get all of that. And yeah,
Yeah, it'd be
so
so good.
yeah, Bastia Shan's a great character.
My one coming in hot with my honorable mention, Kit Fisto, baby. Yes.
Ah, the kitty
So
boy.
reason why I love Kit Fisto is I think I have a thing for design. I love his alien species. Or not alien because technically to him they're not alien. His species and how he fights in the water. The water war, baby.
The,
Woo! My favorite. Bring him back at the arc. The wars.
the water war.
I love especially Kit Fisto within Grievous's lair. He's such a good Jedi. He's someone that has a lot of power. He's got a bit more dominance and cheekiness, especially he gives the little smiles and stuff when he takes out the droid with C3PO, the one with C3PO's head on. He's so cool, man. He's got such a presence, and I'm sad that he died so easily in Emperor's Throne, I guess, or his Palpatine's area, which
Yeah,
Chancellor Palpatine's area.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I had to give him an honorable, and that's why I thought he didn't have enough on him to be a favorite Jedi. But he's just a very cool, unique one that I think needs more recognition. and
Yeah.
I would love to see more of Kit Fisto. I don't know how or why or even when or I just love Kit Fisto.
Yep.
Mm,
Well, it would have to be in a Tales of the Jedi season 3, I reckon.
true,
Oh, sorry,
true.
season 2. Season 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would like more of them.
Yeah, it'd be great. It would be
Mm,
fantastic. Well, we can only hope, right?
yeah, exactly.
I want to see Bastia Shan and Kit Fisto in the new Tales of the Jedi
In the
seasons
water war.
in the Water War. Oh, we need to do Clone Wars arc reviews, man.
Yeah,
We
no,
need
they're
to
so good.
thoroughly go in depth to Water War.
Yeah, no, I love Clone Wars. It has like everything links to Clone Wars in some way.
Yeah, pretty much.
Such
Pretty
an
much.
integral part of Star Wars. I love it.
Yeah, great
Mm,
time period in Star Wars.
mm, mm.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Jack. That discussion went for a lot longer than I thought.
Yeah, that's true. I always like to what's it called, ramble a lot.
Well, when it comes to Anakin, you know,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You
and
took up a
and
lot of
and
time.
Cal Kestis.
Yeah, you and Cal and me and Anakin.
See?
Oh,
Yeah,
jeez.
best of buddies.
Yeah.
Best of buddies. All right, I think that'll wrap us up for this week. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week for that.
Catches.